Welcome to YouTube channel Knowledge Base, connecting world with innovative experts. This is Suresh Venkat. Today we are privileged to interview subject matter expert in digital marketing, Mr. Bharat Surender. He is a senior digital marketing consultant. He comes with 21 years of experience, last 6 years in digital marketing. He has trained a lot of individuals and corporates on digital marketing. He has trained corporates like Times Group and MMA, Madras Management Association. He also does consulting work on digital marketing. He is currently associated with KM Biomed as a senior digital marketing consultant in healthcare domain project getwellatHome.in. Welcome, Mr. Bharat Surender. It's a privilege to
Thank you.
welcome you. It is a privilege to welcome you on a weekend.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, sure. What is digital marketing and how it is different from traditional marketing?
Yeah, right. Now, when human beings have been living for so long, one important thing that we all have to do is we have to actually exchange, various products and services between each and everyone. There's so-called the barter system that happened long back when people were trading, going to there was something called a market that evolved. People were selling cattle. So you go to the market and then you say that I actually have a bag of rice and you actually have, probably a bag of wheat, or probably you have something else. And I want to actually exchange my product to you, and I want to actually have your product back. Then there is a barter system that happened, and that's how evolution of the market actually happened. And then over a period of time, people found that that my product has to be superior than your product, and how that I'm going to differentiate yourself from my product. And then that's how you have this so-called the branding and the pricing differentiation. All these things happen. And today, if you see the evolution of marketing over a period of centuries, because of the advent of technology, and today everybody is connected through online. Everybody have access to mobile phones and laptops and various other gadgets, that we are actually communicating not just from person to person. The communication is happening through the internet. And so the process of marketing, if you can do it using these gadgets and devices and the internet, and that is called your digital marketing. So in simple definition, if I have to give what exactly digital marketing is, that digital marketing is actually a process of converting a stranger into a friend, and a friend into a customer, and a customer into an evangelist. So this entire process, if I'm able to do using our modern technology, whether it is going to be mobile phones, or let us say a tablet or PC or laptop, then this is what exactly is digital marketing is all about. So today we have, if you own a business, if you own a product, if you have a service, and then you want to actually market these products to your target market, then one of the important thing that you have to do is something called the digital marketing. And that's what digital marketing is all about.
Superb, sir. Superb. How strategy is important in digital marketing, sir? How strategy is important?
Wow, fantastic question. In fact, when you say marketing, if you really look at, one of the most important thing in marketing is actually you call it a strategy. Now, what you might say, what exactly strategy is all about? Strategy is, in simple words, if I have to define strategy is nothing but a plan of action. So it is a sequential plan of action that actually lead to a result. So simple as this. That's what strategy is all about. So let us say, for example, if I have to put marketing strategy, then I have to actually know the sequence of action that actually lead to the result. The result may be like that, is that I have to actually create a customer. If you really look at the classic definition of Peter Drucker, one of the management gurus, and he says that what exactly the chief function of a business, the chief function of business to create a customer. Now, if you are able to create a customer, and that is what the process, that is what the process of marketing is all about. So if I have to do that, then I have to actually go in step by step. There is a process which is involved. And if I'm able to have a plan of action for this, and I have a strategy. So marketing strategy is something which actually you have, you always have customer in mind when you actually draft a strategy for marketing. So that is what marketing strategy is all about.
How strategy differs in B2B and B2C, sir?
Yeah, the so simple as this, that if you actually do marketing, you are actually doing marketing to a human being. You
Yeah.
have to understand fundamentally we are actually doing marketing of human being, and actually
Mm.
not to a machine. But then if you look at the difference between B2B and B2C is so simple. Now
Yeah.
B2C is something where I know my target market. Now, if I can actually see, I know who the decision maker. I'm sorry, decision maker. Now,
Okay.
let's say B2C means that I know the decision maker. I can directly talk to a decision maker. Whereas in B2B, I might not be able to directly talk to a decision maker. In fact, I started my career in a B2B sales environment in Naukri.com. It was a challenging role. When you really look at take the B2B environment, normally exactly happen. There are different stakeholders which are there. We almost normally we classify them as four types of stakeholders. One is called your gatekeeper. Gatekeeper is somebody who actually go inside the organization. Normally they are the people who sit in the front office, or people who are there who might not allow you to actually meet the decision maker. So that is one set of people. And then you have to have a rapport with these people in order to actually have a good relationship with your B2B clients. So number one is the gatekeeper, and number two is actually might be the so-called influencer. So somebody is actually influencing you to go and probably meet the particular decision maker, and there will be a user, a buyer, and a decision maker. So almost 4-5 different types of people you have to actually handle in a B2B environment. Now that is a big challenge. But then I will tell you that if you are actually doing marketing for even for B2B, today we have to keeping this all this in mind, that there are different stakeholders in an organization to take decision. But then you have to understand you are actually selling to a human being. So your entire marketing has to be centric to different departments. It can be the influencer, can be probably operations department, the decision maker, the probably the user might be actually a finance department. Maybe the decision maker might be the CEO or the managing director. But keeping in mind that you have different departments you have to go through in order to actually create a sale, then you have to draft your marketing message accordingly, so that you are able to influence in each and every set of people before you actually convert it into a business. It is today I would say that technology will enable you to actually communicate to all set of the prospects, all kinds of prospects. So technology enables you to reach out to all sets of prospects, and B2B can the complex sale can be actually be made into somewhat simpler than what it was earlier. So that is the one advantage you have. Definitely we have an advantage. Yes.
Which one is preferable, Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube to use in digital marketing?
Now, if you say Facebook, LinkedIn, and
YouTube.
YouTube, you're talking
Yeah.
about. Okay. Now, if you take anything, you take Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, all these are different channels of marketing.
Okay.
Or different channels altogether. It is simple like this. Like if, let's say, for example, let's say you have TV, radio, and magazine, let's say, or newspaper. Now, if you ask whether TV is okay, whether magazine is okay, whether newspaper is okay, it ultimately depends upon who you are actually reaching, and why you are reaching, and how you are going to actually go about doing your marketing. Right now, if you look at YouTube is exactly like a TV, television. But then it is not exactly a broadcast medium. It is actually again a direct response medium. And in fact, I will say the YouTube has replaced television today. Today people are not actually going and probably watching TV, but rather actually you have a smart TV where they're actually going to a YouTube channel and they do watch. So in a way, if you take YouTube, video marketing is today is actually something which is inevitable today. Everybody is into video. That's one. It's a different channel altogether. So the strategy has to be different for a YouTube, right? Now, if you take Facebook is actually a social media. Now, I'll say human beings are a social animal, and I think there is I just before I logged in, I was just literally laughing over a comment by another digital marketing guru out there, and he was telling that you're actually you're logged into the social media from morning to night. So almost 24/7, you go and ask somebody. You will also look at the behavior of people. People are logged in the social media for almost more than 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours a day. It is because it is addictive. Because it is a social medium. Now, Facebook is actually it's a so I would say that social channel, you need to have a social strategy. In fact, IIMB, we look at, there is a classic case study they have adapted the case study of Harvard Business School, that your digital marketing strategy will not apply for social media, because social media has to have a separate social media strategy altogether. So social media is a separate, Facebook is a social media. So that's the difference, I would say, between the Facebook and YouTube. And LinkedIn is more a B2B. It's a B2B channel where you actually connect with professionals and people who are already in the industry. So if you are looking out for professional network, I would say you could actually go for LinkedIn. That's the difference between all the three. Yeah. So ultimately, who is your target market? Whether your target market or people who are consuming content in the social media, or whether they are people who are a B2B kind of a target market, or whether the target market is a generic market, which is almost like a mass media where a huge lot of people are there. If you actually have to do a lot of more influencer kind of marketing, then I would say go for YouTube. So ultimately, who is your target group? The question that you have to ask, who is your TG? And if your TG is just that particular set of people, then you have to go for that kind of channel. First and foremost. Yeah.
How does mobile marketing fit into digital marketing strategy?
Mobile marketing is actually, of course, a part of digital marketing. Today, I would say, if you say mobile, I would say today I will say that let's say, for example, I put an ad in Facebook. Let's say, for example, ad in Facebook, and then the leads actually come into my Facebook. Now, almost everybody out there today in a digital marketing domain, what people are adapting is, once these leads comes in, the lead nurturing process has to happen. And most of the nurturing process is happening on the mobile platform, particularly the WhatsApp, and you have Telegram and things like that. Even people have been using some kind of community, creating community. For example, there is a guru who is actually promoting something called binge marketing, where they bring in everybody into that particular group, and that group there is a lot of engagement that keeps happening, and through that the lead nourishment actually happens. So I would say that you have if you really want to do this lead nourishment process, I would say the mobile marketing becomes very inevitable. And there are applications, for example, automation applications, where you can actually communicate to the set of leads actually immediately once the leads actually happen, and from the mobile phones you can actually make sure that these messages keeps going. There is actually a blend of, I would say, the digital marketing and digital sales that has to happen in order to actually the closure to happen. And that is possible when you actually take the mobile marketing and sync it with your digital strategy. And sales process.
Hello. 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 Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I'm
Yes, sir.
still there.
Yeah, sure, sure. So
Yeah.
which one is better, SEO or PPC?
It's a funny question, to be frank.
Yeah.
To be frank, both are for a different purpose altogether.
Okay.
I have a training program where actually I separate the entire digital marketing into two different things. One is called the ROI based marketing, another is the brand building.
Okay.
Now, when they say brand building, if you go to any typical organization, you always have something called a brand building, and you have a brand manager, you have somebody who is that a branding expert. All those people are the branding, very small team. Maybe the PR is there. All those things. Now, what exactly the difference between these two is so simple, is that the branding, if you really look at, it is a long-term game. Now, if I have to actually build a brand, it doesn't happen that overnight. So any entrepreneur or a businessman or a company or organization, he cannot say that I want results just this month. I want immediate result. I spend this much amount of money. I want my money back immediately. It can never ever happen. And companies which have huge deep pockets, they have a strategy put in place so that they actually have a long term activity going on. And you take this so-called SEO, for example, search engine optimization, or any optimization, whether it is SEO or SMO, search engine optimization and social media optimization. So the optimization part, if you look at it, is actually a long-term game. Now, take for example, if I have to take SEO and I have to have produced results, it will actually take me 6 months, 1 year, even more than a year to actually get me results. It takes a long term. It's a long term commitment. We clearly look at even companies who are spending a lot of money on digital marketing. You will be able to see those companies who have deep pockets. They have huge budgets. Those are the people actually make sure that their links actually come on the top of the Google. And because reason is they are able to get a team who are able to actually do systematically, religiously, this so-called your SEO to happen, and they are able to do it. Because reason is it is a long-term game, number one. If you take PPC is exactly your ROI based marketing. When I say ROI based marketing is, let's say I have to spend, let's say I am spending 100 rupees. Am I getting back the 100 rupees? When am I getting back? Am I getting back 200, 300, 400, 500,000? What am I getting back? If I'm able to if I put money and if I'm able to make 1x, 2x, 3x, 4x profit, that is what ROI based marketing. And I think this PPC exactly fits into your ROI based marketing. Exactly fits into ROI based marketing. That's the difference between these both.
Yeah. How do I measure my success in digital marketing?
No, the measurement game is actually something which is I would say that works differently for different strategy altogether, different things altogether. When I look at like PPC, for example, the measurement for probably the brand building, for example, both are totally different. Now, if suppose, let's say, for example, under PPC, the measurements are so simple that what is the exact budgeting that I allocate every day for my campaign. So the budgeting, let's say, for example, I spend 200 rupees per day on the campaign, 200 rupees, 300 rupees per day. And how much of leads am I getting? How much am I reach I'm getting? How much of leads I'm getting? So the lead per cost. One of the most important metric is the lead per cost. And am I able to reduce my lead per cost? And that is a major metric in your success. It happens that some of them are able to reduce the lead per cost. So it is ultimately like, if my targeting is good, targeting is okay, I would be able to actually reduce my lead per cost. So when I reduce my lead per cost, when I get my leads, the number of leads, next measurement would be the number of leads. So if I'm able to get what is the quality of my lead will be determined by my sales guys who are actually calling up on the phones and the response that happens. The quality of my response and the qualifying process that actually happens, and there is a filtration of these leads from probably a cold lead to a warm lead, and am I able to have more engagement on those leads and nourishment? I think we have to have those metrics put in place for to have the right kind of strategy to fine tune this entire process. If we have to fine tune, then we have to go about working on the entire the conversion rate optimization as such. I think that is what you have to do. So the metrics, that's how it works. When it comes to brand building, the metrics, if you have to really look at, the metrics would be, I cannot go and probably do a reverse process, but I would actually rather look at per day, what is the number of posts that actually goes into my every social media feeds, for example, and what is the number of likes I get, what is the number of shares that I get, what is the quantity quality of the comments that I get. Those things becomes very important key metrics for me to actually make my progress going forward. I think that would be the kind of metrics that we have to actually look at. End of the day, I would say, of course, conversion matters. So if the conversion actually happens, and that is the metric, I would say the sales number that happens and amount of the profit margins that I'm able to make, and that would be the determining factor to go ahead. Yeah.
Does it require a big budget to implement digital marketing?
I would say that if you have to implement marketing, whether it is going to be digital or non-digital, you have to have a budget to work with. And there are a lot of people who used to ask me, can you do marketing without any investment? There are some of them who are normally used to ask. There is no thing called free marketing. You can never happen. And there has to be an investment that has to have. In fact, the investment, even if you go for a free traffic, there are two kinds of traffic, paid and free traffic. Even if it is a free traffic, you have to have a budget which is allocated. In fact, the free traffic, their budget would be almost reasonably as equivalent to a paid effort. So you have to invest on various tools, software. You have to invest on your equipments. You have to invest in your your manpower. So the manpower hiring process would also be included in the entire thing. So it will take almost, you have to pay them. Suppose you have to have a social media guy to do it, and the social media, for that you have to have the designer, you have to have a content writer, you have to have a social media executive, and you have to have a technical expert. All these people come in, put into picture, your entire cost is involved. So I would say that you have to have the budget allocated properly in order to have an effective digital marketing to be implemented. And no
See,
doubt about it.
which one is preferable for digital marketing, to have an in-house team or to outsource to an outside agency?
This is a big challenge. I would say it's a very big challenge. Many of the organizations are having at this point of time, because digital marketing is actually an upcoming field. And you would say, if suppose I have to, there are two things there is always a catch-22 situation that happens with most of the organization. What the catch-22 is, I actually want to make sure that bring down the cost of hiring. And I would probably go in to hire a fresher out there who is less experienced, probably put him and make sure that he is able to do. But the sad part is getting the talent, right? The right kind of talent becomes really very big challenge, because you have to have different talent, for different things. Like, for example, you have to have a video editing guy to do the videos. You have to have probably the social media, guy to do the social media. You have to have the SEO guy to do the SEO. You have to have the graphic guy. So if you put a team, I would say, with the youngsters, of course, with a lesser, budget, but then it actually still your productivity, your strategy, and all those things comes into picture. In a way, you have to actually, have to have an expert actually. So if you say you have to have expert, then who is the expert? Maybe you have to hire a third party consultant, probably somebody who's a senior in the industry, who actually understand your bigger picture, the strategical portion of it. Bring him into the team, make sure that that team is able to implement effectively. So it becomes a kind of a challenge now. If you have an in-house team, still you have to have an expert. You have to have somebody who's a senior to guide them and do this. Now what exactly happening, a lot of digital agency out there, they have the team, they have the setup, they have all those things in place. All you have to do is outsource the work so that they will be able to do the work for you and give you the result. So it is ultimately left to you what kind of strategy you're going to have, whether you are going to have an in-house team or whether you're going to outsource it to somebody. Get this done, job done, and make sure. In fact, you can outsource work. You can outsource work to an agency, make sure that they're able to do, because they have professional hand, they know what to do, they can do it and give it to you. But one thing, remember one thing, that you're again coming back to what Peter Drucker said. There are two functions which can never be outsourced. You should never outsource to work. One is innovation, another is marketing. In mean to say marketing strategy. So marketing strategy can never be outsourced because it is part and parcel of your business strategy. So your strategy remains the same no matter how much you outsource. For example, right now the work I'm doing at GetWell, for example, the things comes to me, we do it and go back, but then the ultimate strategy remains with the managing director of GetWell. In fact, that man understands what the strategy is supposed to be done, because he is very clearly is able to understand what he is supposed to do. And that is actually articulated, that is communicated to us, and we are able to do it. I think that I would say that the business owner has to be very clear on what kind of strategy he has to implement. So in a way, I would say, even if you outsource, you are not outsourcing everything. You are actually outsourcing a portion of it, and that gets implemented. I think that's the answer. Yeah.
Your final comments, Mr. Bharat?
Maybe I would like to share the work right now. Right now, I'm actually working with a 56-year-old healthcare organization, which is into healthcare, which are into biomedical. Their parent company is called KM Biomed. It's a South Indian company. They have been there for a very long time. In fact, last two chief ministers of Tamil Nadu were having their equipment at their home. Medical equipments and all your big hospitals out there, like Apollo hospitals and so many other hospitals. Everyone uses their equipments, their beds, hospital beds in particular. They have something called the smart bed technology, which is something they are pioneered that technology. In fact, I think this COVID time, I think a lot of sales in fact happened there, and they have donated a lot of 40 lakh worth of beds to Rotary, and I would say they're doing a great job. And I've been part of initiative in their digital going in the digital way. And right now we are working on something called the Get Well at Home. So the need of the hour, to be frank, we thought it because they started way back Corona period. Right now the Corona, this is happening for us, and that's what I'm doing currently. I also work with the Tamil magazine, Tamil magazine. and it's called Vivekam. And currently, I think we have slightly paused because of the corona. And there are a couple of projects which is actually coming at this point of time. And right now, I'm actually doing a training program for a global audience, and with an organization support with another organization called TATI, Tamil Nadu Advanced Technical Institute. I've been doing a lot of program for them, and right now my batch is going on. I do train, I also teach, I also mentor people, go to organizations and set up their digital marketing teams. I used to set up a digital marketing team for an organization called BMQR, which is actually a quality certifying body. Almost 1 year, I made sure that they have a team, in fact, put in place, and a lot of work that happens. I would say that today, I think a lot of people need digital marketing. And if anybody actually have any doubt on actually how to put a digital team in place, I think people can get back, probably ask me any questions. If they want, they can comment, and probably they can actually, any questions they want to put across, they can put across. And I have a website called bharatsurendran.in. People can check out their website. I used to actually I used to run a blog. Still the blog is there, called minimba-millionaire.com. And also bharatsurendran.in is the website, and bharatsurendran.com. If people go, there is a lot of downloads which are there. People can actually download my material. So these are things people can check out. And anything they want to know further about digital marketing, I think they can visit these websites. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Bharat Surendran. Thanks a lot for spending a valuable weekend. Thanks a lot for spending a valuable weekend, sharing your knowledge and experience. It's really wonderful listening to you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Suresh, for giving this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
See you all.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye.